in the episodes. It was an episode I saw the other night. I thought it bears mentioning today. It was an episode where the kids are discussing safe spaces. And it becomes a thing in the town of South Park. And they decide that the fat kid, Cartman, can't handle people calling him fat on Twitter. And so they take one of the other kids, I think his name's Butters, and they say to him, all right, what you got to do is you got to go through Cartman's Twitter account, and you have to take all the bad Twitter things out, delete them, and then you give Cartman a printout of all the good tweets so that he feels good about himself, so he has a safe space. So it's fair to Cartman, because Cartman was crying and upset because he showed a photo of himself without a shirt on, and everybody made fun of how big he is. He's drawn very fat. So Butter says, well, I don't want to do this. Why doesn't he just get off social media? And they said, no, you can't. You have to give him a safe space. So Butter starts doing it, and Cartman's walking around. Oh, Twitter's great. I get to see all this stuff on Twitter about how great I look. And it's, and Butters has got pages and pages and pages of hate tweets. And the word gets out that this little kid, Butters, can clean up your Twitter account. And all of a sudden, all of these celebrities who get all these mean tweets suddenly come to him and go, I want you to handle my account. I want you to handle my account. And the principal of the school says, well, you're the only one who can do it, Butters. No, everyone else we've given detention because they won't do it. So he's going through everybody. Demi Lovato and I think Steven Seagal, and they draw them ridiculous, right? Like hideously malformed. And they said you have to go through all their social media accounts and remove all the hate tweets and just give them only the printouts. And they're all walking around, yeah, this is great. Steven Seagal says, this is great. Nobody hates me. Well, at a certain point, Butters starts to hallucinate. And he starts to see like a Dick Dastardly villain appear behind him. It's all animated. And he says, well, who are you? And he goes, I'm reality. And reality is going to mess up your life. And Butters says, oh, no. And he starts to run away from this villain, reality. And the other kids are saying, we don't see this guy. What's wrong with you? And he goes, no, reality is going to get me. Reality is going to get me. Well, at one point, he finally, I know this story's long, but bear with me. He runs out the window because it's a synopsis thing. And he gets injured. And they say, well, listen, we can't allow this anymore. We can't allow Butters to suffer like this, having to deal with, the villain reality, because the villain shows up at an Emmy Awards banquet and messes with their food and their fruit punch. And so what is the ultimate solution? They decide, well, we're just going to simply hang Dick Dastardly in the town square from a hangman's noose. And it was a message to the audience. That's what people want. They don't want reality. They were willing to destroy the truth and reality in order to have their safe space. And a few days ago, we did a show here, and I was talking about some celebrities who can't handle the criticism. And one, Sarah Jessica Parker, and there's others. It's not just her. They can't handle the mean tweets, and they put it on the person sending the quote-unquote mean tweet, right? And a lot of the reason why Donald Trump lost votes and the election in many people's minds was that he was one for mean tweets. And I noticed in the last 4 years of Donald Trump that he never sent out a mean tweet unless they went after him first. Unless they said, well, he's got a big ego or he's got orange hair or something like that. Then he would unload on the guy. And the truth was, when you go through some of these tweets before his Twitter account was banned, and you go through and you analyze all this stuff that's going on, all people do when they talk about mean tweets and the demand for safe spaces is they just talk reality. Celebrities that are overweight, maybe don't look so good anymore because of age, or bad plastic surgery, or an unhealthy lifestyle, staying out late, drinking, partying, that ages you very fast. You don't see it in your 30s when you're doing it, but boy, howdy, you see it in your 50s. People don't want to deal with reality. That's what safe spaces are all about. When they tell you, well, we have to talk about a certain term for male and female, it's saying that there's only two sexes, that creates a microaggression and an area of hostility. Those people are just ducking reality. That's all it is. Because they can't handle it. They can't cope with it. They can't cope with the truth. Orwell said something very true in his books and his papers and his writings. He said, when you get to this point in a society, telling the truth becomes a revolutionary act. Telling things honestly become a revolutionary act. And he was right. Because people cannot deal with reality. And the reality is, as we all get older, we don't look so good. The reality is, when you put on a few extra pounds, you're not as attractive as when you are thinner. It's also less healthy. You generally don't live as long. You have associated health problems with it. When you live a life of excess of drugs, alcohol, staying out late, partying, that does a damage to your body. Do you remember what the Bible says? It says your body is a temple. Well, it's very true. And you have to respect it. And, people can do things that are maybe not healthy. I for one, eat things that maybe are not healthy. Today, I had a bacon burger because I had a little bacon in the fridge left over from this weekend. And I had some hamburger. I made a fresh bacon burger. It's not healthy. It was great, though. It was freshly made. Fresh lettuce, chopped tomato and onion and peppers. Oh, it was fabulous. It was epic. It's not healthy for me. I don't live on it. That's okay. When you live a life to excess, though, you're going to have to suffer the consequences. I'm willing to suffer the consequences of eating unhealthy food from time to time. If I don't live as long, if I don't stay thinner or lose weight as fast as I should be, I'm okay with that. And that's why when people send me mean tweets or emails, I get more emails than anything else. When I get those emails, I go, I don't care. And they think that they're scoring points with me, against me. They send out tweets, ha ha ha. And I go, what do you think you're accomplishing? Exposing me to the truth? Exposing me to reality? That's not. Well, you're just an old man. You're going to die someday. Yeah, I probably will. You will too. Just an angry old man. Yeah, I am. I'm angry at the changes to our society, both sociologically and culturally. I'm angry that our country is so badly mismanaged. And I'm going to say something. And I'm going to try and do something about it. Try and convince other people that this way is wrong. What are you telling me that I don't already know? That maybe my culture and my sociological way of life is changing? I have no doubt of that. That maybe I'm just an angry old man? I have no doubt of that. I'm proud of that. Maybe if there were more angry old men in society, maybe society wouldn't be turning upside down as it is now. You ever think about that? Thanks, Dad. Yeah, my dad was a good example for me. Wasn't a man that was perfect. But I think more people need that dad lecture. I think society needs that dad lecture. I was watching the mass media news today, and everybody who had smiling faces, all looking forward to, these coffee shows where they sit around a table, what I call henhouse shows. Wendy Williams, The Five. This is not right or left wing. This is just these henhouse shows. The View, all slickly marketed with lights on them. They're all earning big, fat, six-figure salaries. No wonder they're all fucking smiling while our country burns. Got me mad. It reminded me of that song, Smiling Faces. You remember that song? I think, who was it? Was it the Commodores? sitting around the table, the pat on the back. Oh, everything's going to be okay. No, it's not. Not unless things change. That doesn't mean you have to live an unhappy life. But it gets me angry. It's like you're laughing and joking as a 17-year-old boy on trial for his life and you're joking about it. Regardless of where you stand on the issue, there's an entire town literally on edge now as more and more malfeasant people are trickling into it for their own reasons, which is why I haven't commented much on the trial, that are going to tear that town apart if they don't get what they want with the verdict. Over 4 people, the shooter and 3 victims, who don't even live there. And you're goofing on that? You're making jokes about that? That's not funny. And maybe if some more people would take things a little bit more seriously. And I'm not saying, like I said, having a good time in life, that's all part of it. How we live our life is at least as important as how we die. I'm a big proponent of a properly run life. And that includes sometimes putting down the news. But if your job is to sit and give opinions and talk about events as a journalist, as an opinion host, you should be a little bit more careful and a little bit more serious about it. Because this is serious, folks. We're $30 trillion in debt. China and Ukraine are playing us, as well as Russia. And you're all laughing like, Can't laugh anymore, man. We got to do something about it. We got to try and wake people up. Look, you don't understand the dangers of being this kind of debt. The dangers of having a senile old fart as president who has incompetent people working for him. You're neglecting what reality is. Because you're all fat and happy. You're all making big money. I had this issue years ago when I was writing columns for newspapers. I was a per diem guy. You know, you make a few $100 here, a few $100 there. You go in, you turn in your work into a newsroom, and everybody's sitting around with feet up on the desk laughing. And it's like, well, the country's about to go to war. The only reason you have a job, you got these big 6-figure salaries, and then they're all bitching and moaning that the paper's doing cutbacks. Good, all you fuckers should be fired. You're living too well. Hungry. This is why YouTube stars, individual journalists, mom and pop shows, much like this show, are getting more and more successful, and the mainstream media is losing ratings every day. They're losing touch. They're too fat. They're too happy. They're too smiling. Not hungry. They don't take things seriously because the American people know. They sure as hell know. They know when they go into the supermarket and they pay $30 for a steak, and then they have to go fill up their tank and it costs $100. They know. They know something seriously is wrong. We deal in reality. You guys want to live in safe spaces behind big salaries and pat each other on the back about how great life is. I don't. Let's move on. Let's talk about China. Because China, Russia, Ukraine, North Korea, Iran, we're all being played. And let's talk about it next. We'll be right back.